Lawrence Stroll's grand vision for Aston Martin's Formula One empire is starting to look worryingly fragile. After pouring hundreds of millions into the project and tying his legacy to the team's rise, cracks are now beginning to show. And they're not just hairline fractures. The biggest source of the brewing storm, none other than Adrian Newey, the engineering genius who was supposed to be Stroll's ace in the hole. Despite commanding a jaw-dropping $33 million salary, Newey has turned his focus elsewhere, abandoning the crucial development of Aston Martin's 2025 car in favor of working exclusively on the 2026 project. For a team that was supposed to be climbing to the top, Newey's disengagement feels like a betrayal at the worst possible time. For Stroll, this isn't just frustrating, it's a gut punch. His massive investment, once seen as the ticket to championship contention, now feels perilously close to unraveling. With the future of Aston Martin's F1 dreams hanging in the balance, the billionaire's patience is wearing dangerously thin. Inside the team, the whispers have turned into open frustrations. According to several sources close to the situation, Adrian Newey has made a bold and highly controversial call to abandon the 2025 effort and pour all his focus into Aston Martin's 2026 car, which will be built around their new partnership with Honda. In doing so, he's effectively left the AMR25 to fend for itself, and judging by the results, the car is sinking fast. The AMR25 has been nothing short of a disappointment, structurally weak, underpowered, and a far cry from the promise it showed in 2024. Points are becoming a rarity, and the team's once hopeful 2025 campaign is now being quietly labelled a lost cause. For all the money Stroll is shelling out, a staggering $33 million a year for Newey's expertise, the scoreboard shows little return, fueling internal friction and frustration at every level of the organisation. Even Fernando Alonso, typically a master of carefully chosen words and subtle digs, hasn't bothered to sugarcoat the situation. After a miserable run to 11th in Jeddah, Alonso delivered a brutally honest assessment. "We have to get used to P11, that's probably our position. We only finished there because Tsunoda and Gasly collided, and Lawson got a penalty. Otherwise, we'd be talking about P14 for a team that once dreamed of podiums." It was a devastating reality check, and one that only deepens the sense of crisis engulfing Aston Martin. Behind the scenes, the tension is boiling over. Frustration within the team has reached a breaking point, with meetings now routinely taking place without Newey even bothering to show up. Emails from engineers and management alike are reportedly left unanswered, while Aston Martin's chief trackside officer Mike Crack has publicly, and rather diplomatically, admitted that Newey is operating completely in isolation. "He's not coming to meetings, he's not answering messages, he's just working on a fast car, and we support that process," Crack said, carefully choosing words that couldn't fully mask the growing unease behind closed doors. In truth, Newey has been handed full control to sculpt Aston Martin's 2026 challenger, but his almost complete detachment from the day-to-day running of the 2025 campaign has become a raw nerve inside the team. Even Newey's wife has hinted at the scale of his obsession, posting on social media that she barely sees him anymore, with Adrian practically living at the Silverstone factory. The gulf widened even further after the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix debacle, a race weekend so poor that it sounded alarm bells throughout the paddock. Not only did Aston Martin fail to find any performance gains despite throwing 3 sets of soft tyres at Q1, but Newey's absence from the urgent post-race debrief spoke volumes. For a team still reeling from a shocking regression compared to 2024, Newey's no-show only deepened the sense of abandonment. But the storm clouds over Stroll's project don't end with internal chaos. External pressure is now piling on too. The Saudi Public Investment Fund, which holds a crucial 20% stake in Aston Martin, is growing increasingly restless. According to reports, the Saudis are far from impressed with the team's downward spiral, and the whispers around the paddock are getting louder. If the freefall continues, Stroll might be pushed into selling part, or even all, of the team he fought so hard to build. F1 analyst Robert Dornbos captured the escalating mood perfectly, bluntly stating, "Lawrence Stroll has a huge presence, but it's not fun to work with him at the moment. The story is that he's angry because Adrian Newey won't work on the 2025 car. Behind the scenes, it's clear the walls are starting to close in." Making matters even more complicated is Aston Martin's entanglement in the high-stakes battle for Max Verstappen's future. The Saudi backers are reportedly preparing a staggering $300 million war chest to tempt Verstappen into a shock switch to the team, a dream move that hinges on Aston Martin at least appearing competitive. But with the AMR25 floundering and the team visibly fracturing, the odds of pulling off such a blockbuster signing are slipping away by the day. If there were any lingering hopes that the situation wasn't as bad as it seemed, the on-track data brutally crushed them. Lance Stroll's 2025 season has been nothing short of a nightmare, and his performance in Jeddah hammered that reality home, setting an unwanted record for the most Q1 eliminations in Formula One history. His verdict on the AMR25, as unfiltered as it gets. I don't think there are any real strengths. We're not the fastest in fast corners, we're not the best in low-speed traction. Maybe we're still okay with the brakes on the straights, Stroll admitted, painting a bleak picture of a car that seems lost in no man's land. Mediocre everywhere, master of nowhere. Adding salt to the wound, respected journalist Tom Clarkson ran a forensic analysis comparing Aston Martin's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix outings in 2024 and 2025. The results were devastating. Despite burning through extra sets of soft tyres, Aston Martin is now, on average, half a second slower per lap than they were just a year ago. For a team that once dared to dream of podiums, it's a sobering, almost cruel reminder of how quickly fortunes can unravel in Formula One. Looking ahead, the road doesn't get any easier. The much-hyped switch to Honda power units in 2026 brings yet another mountain to climb. Adrian Newey has been tasked with designing an entirely new car architecture, one that must seamlessly integrate a fresh gearbox and a brand new engine concept. But there's a growing cloud of uncertainty over who will actually drive the car when it's ready. Honda's Koji Watanabe has already made it clear, just as they did during their partnership with Red Bull, the Japanese giant expects a serious say in driver selection. For Aston Martin, that adds a layer of political complexity to an already volatile situation. Meanwhile, efforts to bolster the technical ranks have hit unexpected snags. The team pulled off a coup by securing former Ferrari aerodynamics chief Enrico Cardile, but due to gardening leave restrictions, he won't join until 2026. That leaves Aston Martin's technical staff painfully thin at a critical moment, just when major structural reinforcements are needed most. Adding to the internal turbulence, the departure of technical director Dan Fallows has rocked the boat even further. Analyst Alex Brundle didn't mince words when he assessed the mood. "I have the feeling that this team has already given up on the season. It's a brutal but increasingly undeniable truth. For a team that stood proudly on podiums just a year ago, Aston Martin's plunge into midfield obscurity is shocking. Worse yet, the Sharks are circling. Rising forces like Williams and Haas, once seen as distant threats, are now legitimate dangers in the Constructors' Championship standings. Aston Martin's slip down the order isn't just humiliating, it carries the very real risk of a severe drop in championship prize money, a financial and reputational blow Lawrence Stroll can ill afford. For a man whose vision was to build Aston Martin into a championship-winning juggernaut, the 2025 season is shaping up not as a year of strategic transition, but as a slow, painful unravelling. Unless the team can somehow stabilise the chaos, balancing long-term ambitions with the immediate urgency of survival, Stroll's dream risks slipping through his fingers before it ever truly takes flight. Do you think Aston Martin should prioritise 2025 survival or go all in on 2026? Let us know in the comments. Until next time, goodbye for now.